Welcome, everybody, to the American Space Museum. I'm Marquette, and we're glad you're with us to stay curious with Travis Thompson.
Yes, sir.
Greetings, Travis. Triple T is his nickname. He was the lead of the astronaut closeout crew in the White Room that put the astronauts in their chairs for a spaceship ride to orbit. And so welcome. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good. Gave a couple tours today. Had a nice little young man in here that just loves planets. And I think that's anytime we can get the young guys excited, or gals, I think that's a good thing.
That's right. We've been pretty busy here at our museum, people taking vacation here on the holidays, and we're glad that you spent some of your time with us here to help you stay curious. We got a little bit of space history about a dinosaur and a mole.
Yeah.
All right, two animals there. And we also have a little story about STS-116. Was launched yesterday, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Here is the fruit of their labors. Two astronauts there doing an EVA. That's Bob Kerbeam, who's kind of waving there, and Sweden's first astronaut, Krista Fuglesang. And they did 3 EVAs together on this, and Kerbeam did 4.
Yeah.
No other astronaut has done 4 EVAs on the same mission.
Same mission. Wow.
Do you remember anything about him? We'll see a picture of him here.
I want to say he played football too. I can't remember. But cool guy, very bright, intelligent, happy to do anything. One of those kind of,
We'll see a picture of him here in just a minute there. But we wanted to point out that this is also over New Zealand.
Beautiful.
Is the landmass. I looked that up. That's the northern and southern part of New Zealand Island.
I wish I could afford to go there.
We have got a Stay Curious viewer there for, well, a long time.
Yeah.
Now, remind me his name. I just had a senior moment there. Saul Swiddle.
Oh, yeah.
Dean Saul Swiddle. Hope you're watching Stay Curious in New Zealand. We know Robert Law's up there on his big screen TV.
Yeah, cool.
Enjoying a cocktail in the evening there in Dundee, Scotland.
Dundee.
Also an island country, so like this. So anyway, we got, like I said, a little program about a dinosaur and a mole in STS-116 and the Egress basket system that you train people on.
My bread and butter.
Kind of an ultimate zip line.
Yeah.
All right. But with some serious consequences of it there.
Oh,
so Marty Winkle's doing our controls behind our wonderful camera system here. Jessica Galloway, our Trekkie Techie, checked in by phone to make sure that Marty and I are 2 old men that have learned this new trick. All right.
We need
you can teach new dogs, old dogs, new tricks. You can tell that. As you can see from our production today. And first, we always like to establish that you are who you say you are.
There you go. That works for me.
Mr. Thompson, there you are with the crew of STS-85.
85.
As I consult my scroll. Tell me what's going on there and who you're with.
Well, we're in the White Room, and this has to be TCDT, which is 217 dress rehearsal. The reason I know that because there had to be a photographer there to take that picture.
Okay.
So this is dry count.
This is August 1997 was the launch of Discovery, 23rd mission of Discovery.
So this would have been maybe 3 weeks prior.
In May, probably, you're saying, and they go through all your training, take pretty pictures of them on the pad and so forth.
Well, it's a time to, you're doing dress rehearsal, you're doing work, but you can also, relax a little bit.
And we're going to have several programs just on the numbers, but number 1 is the one in charge, and your shop guys are the 5 and the 6.
Yeah. That's George Schramm there on his knees, and Vinny DeFranzio is number 5.
Yeah.
My buddy Marcia
Ivins is the astronaut there. Robert Kerbeam, the other one, and he was just doing the spacewalk.
Yeah.
And in the background is you think that's your astronaut?
That's my asp.
Your ass. Number 2 is an astronaut.
Yeah.
And I don't recognize who that is either.
I don't either. I wish I could read his name tag, but I can't do that either.
Well, we'll looks like Joe or something, but we'll zoom in on it later there. But so that is you leading the crew there. You're tied into the launch director.
Oh yeah.
But what we're going to talk about here for a moment is the dinosaur I alluded to. Travis, on December 10th, 1963, Secretary of State Robert S. McNamara, a very important defense secretary in America's history,
Correct.
announced the cancellation of the X-20 dinosaur project seen here being launched on a Titan II rocket.
I thought it was
All right.
familiar.
They had spent $4 billion in today's money. Back in '63, 410 million, and they needed another $3 billion for the very first flight of this 1- and 2-man space plane. Okay, it was decided that it wasn't practical, or what, for whatever reasons. This was in 1963. We've already done the Mercury program, had flown most of its missions.
Right.
But what McNamara also announced at this news briefing at the Pentagon on this date in history was that the Manned Orbiting Laboratory, the MOLE. Nope, went the wrong way. Wrong way, Peach Fuzz. Well, first, before I get to the MOLE, let me mention that this is that space plane. In 1963, folks, can you imagine 50 years of technology perfecting a 1- and 2-person space plane like an F-15 fighter jet? I mean, nobody would be messing with us. Okay, we'd be having these space planes flying, every day out of Edwards Air Force Base, doing things, so forth. So, what if? This is a big what if. I think the dinosaur program. It was just. They just didn't, for some reason, think it was a practical application. Mercury and Gemini and Apollo were in the pipeline already to go to the moon.
Right.
What a concept that we're still struggling with today to perfect. We would love to have a couple of these bad boys ready to go up to the space station and rescue people. Or Columbia, for example, could have been rescued by these if we had kept this technology in parallel with what's going on.
Oh, yeah.
For fun things over the holiday, Google while you're looking at your new smartphone or tablet or whatever, Dinosaur, Dinosaur. It was the X-20. It was called that because of everybody's craziness over dinosaurs, that had been a new renaissance of dinosaur bones and stuff being discovered and technology. So, McNamara canceled the dinosaur, but he approved of the MOLE. And the MOLE is the Manned Orbiting Laboratory that a Gemini spacecraft was going to either be sent up with this whole laboratory, and later docking ports could be put on it. This was a National Reconnaissance photograph that was just released in 2015, as you see in the upper left hand, showing you some of the technologies like a telescope, or is that an orange laser weapon on the side of that? The whole idea of the Manned Orbiting Laboratory was to put men in space to man reconnaissance of course, our unfriendly countries, as well as do Earth resources from orbit. 17 astronauts had been chosen in the Air Force to do this. About 10 of them transitioned into shuttle astronauts, including Bob Crippen, who flew on STS-1. And I'm not going to rattle all enough to impress you who I know. But yes, it was quite a program. They had blue spacesuits. You can see one hanging at the Oklahoma City Science Museum, as I have, and couldn't believe what it was. And they found them in a locker at Cape Canaveral.
Nobody knew,
That, of course, Air Force blue, and their uniforms are blue. And we will do a program on MOLE. In fact, we were having the opportunity that Bart Martindale, who co-hosts some things for us, has got a gentleman who's involved in the MOLE project that we're working on to come and talk to us soon. So, cool. What else about this interesting MOLE concept? It was leading to other space stations in orbit. And believe you me, in 1963, people like Wernher von Braun, the great rocket scientist and architect of the Saturn V, thought for sure humans would be on Mars by 1985.
Wow.
All right. And had von Braun, had a carte blanche check to do it, he would have done it, like he went to the moon.
Right.
50 years later, we're still wanting to go back to the moon for the first time in 49 years. As Apollo 17 lands December 11th, 1972, tomorrow, 49 years ago, for the last time we walked on an alien world. So some of these concepts were really cool. They wanted to have telescopes in space, serviced by astronauts living there, like you see a Gemini type vehicle off the upper left there.
Right.
Of course, we do have the Hubble telescope over 31 years in orbit, and the Webb telescope hopefully will be launched in 12 days. We'll be doing a show on that next week also. So today in space history is an interesting day, and we encourage you to read up on the Manned Orbiting Laboratory and the Dinosaur program. But just imagine those space planes zipping around
Oh, wow.
all of our major bases around the
need that.
world, keeping peace, and which is not our role particularly as Americans. But anyway, let's fast forward to 2006 and the launch of STS-116, Space Transportation System 116, that delivered and attached the International Space Station's third port steel segment, the P5 truss. These are the backbones of the whole system of the station modules, the habitats, and the solar panels that keep the energy on there. So here we have the first two African Americans to fly in space. Joan Higginbotham's in the middle, and Robert Curbeam, his third and last flight. Okay, beside Curbeam is Nicholas Patrick, and beside Patrick, the woman in the back is Williams, Sunita Williams, on her first of two long expeditions in space. Expedition 14 and 15, she joined on this mission. And then she went up a couple years later and had the record of 330 some days in space until not Jessica Meir, but Cook. Yeah. Christina Cook broke the record there. Thank you.
Tried.
In there. And then we've got the Swedish astronaut there, Fogelsang, Krista Fogelsang, okay, did 3 spacewalks with Curbeam.
Wow.
All right. And then you got your commander right below him. This was his third flight, Mark Polanski.
Polanski.
And Polanski, yes. And then the pilot on the other side is Bill O'Flynn. All right, Bill O'Flynn. And we have to mention that Bill O'Flynn is the astronaut who got involved in the love triangle with Lisa Nowak, another astronaut.
Yeah.
And all I have to say about that is, Triple T, you ever been in a love triangle?
Well, not in the White Room.
Not in the White Room. That's a good one. Well, we're not going to say much about that. It's a dark mark on the NASA history, except I am going to say this. It's for all you out there that do want the facts. From Wikipedia, O'Flynn gained media attention on February 5th, 2007, when fellow astronaut Lisa Nowak was arrested in Florida at Orlando International Airport, by the way, charged with attempting to kidnap O'Flynn's girlfriend, U.S. Air Force Captain Colleen Shipman. Nowak later pleaded guilty to felony burglary and misdemeanor battery. O'Flynn admitted to a 2-year affair with Shipman, and he and Nowak became the first astronauts ever dismissed from NASA. Following the dismissals, NASA created its first astronaut code of conduct.
Yeah.
O'Flynn and Shipman got married and lived happily ever after, and not so much for Lisa Nowak, who has really gone into obscurity. I think she's even changed her name. She was a Navy captain and was on STS-121 6 months before this mission. She was in space in July 2006, and then this mission was in December 2006. Now, why would 121 fly before 115? That is how some of these manifests went. In fact, 121 was the return to flight after the return to flight.
Right.
Because many of us don't remember, Travis, that after the return to flight of Columbia, 114, led by Eileen Collins, they had more damage and more stuff fall off the ET, and the birds were grounded for another year. Yeah. And this was the second return to flight.
Right. Okay. I got it. Yeah. That's.
You remember all that?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And what did you do during that downtime of another year? After 2 years,
we did little housekeeping stuff that redid our platforms that go inside the ship, stuff like that.
Busy work.
And a lot of our guys were also assigned to whatever fix that was going on. So.
Well, this is a tremendous mission, okay, and who knows what kind of an astronaut Oakland would have become, but
I feel sorry for him.
affairs of the heart are in every aspect of our society.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah,
about
when this went on February 5th, you were in you have a story about that.
Yeah, we have to go to Houston to train, to do all our training, because the mock-ups are there and we cannot train in our real vehicle because we might damage it. So we go to Houston once a year to get certified and training for all this stuff. And we were flying back from Houston, my whole team, my guys from KSC, and we all got on the plane, and who's sitting in the back?
Bill O'Flynn.
Yeah, and my boys ribbed him all the way to Florida, and I felt so sorry for him. I'm like, I even walked back there once. I said, man, give it a break, you know.
Oh, really?
One of the stewardesses came up, and she said, are you in charge of all those guys? I was like, yeah. She said, you might want to come back here. So
and she took the drink card away from you all too, right?
Probably.
Well, that's, like I said, you live and breathe this stuff, Travis.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting to talk to him about this. And tell your friends on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch to please like, share, follow, and subscribe to us and get these tales from the White Room with Triple T here. And he's got a bunch of them. And most of them are for public consumption. But like we said, this is an example. These two astronauts in the love with the love triangle is affairs of the heart rule mess up a lot of things in people's lives.
That's what love will do to you. It cost me $250,000. So
oh hush,
I'm not a fan.
But any rate, so let's look at a little bit at this mission here. There are the astronauts in space 15 years ago.
Isn't that cool?
There's more than 7 of them because they joined the 3 Expedition 14 crew members there. So we wanted to show them in space there. And
so Kerbeiner must have had a lot of spacewalks.
Kerbeiner had 4 on this.
On this one, but I'm thinking total.
And he had 2 other missions. So we'll have to look that up one day. And do
I think
show.
Jerry's still the.
Jerry Voss is tied with Peggy Whitson for 10.
Okay.
Most. But Jerry Voss had a Department of Defense mission, STS-116, that I heard him say at a luncheon that I paid to listen to him at, that I heard at KSC, that he did a spacewalk on STS-117, and he's mad they won't credit it to him because it was a defense.
Because it was a
mission.
DOD.
And he said it was 25 years ago.
Yeah.
What the heck?
Yeah.
This is what the space station looked like 15 years ago when STS-116 departed.
That's pretty cool.
After doing the most ambitious, demanding spacewalk mission of the whole 30-some flights that went to the International Space Station to build it. So we love showing off our International Space Station. Hope you can see it someday coming over your house. Usually it's always in the twilight, in the evening or morning twilight, and there's an app for that if you're curious about it.
Yep, track it.
Travis, when I see pictures like these, when I'm researching our shows, I want to just say, wow, I know you were there.
Oh, yeah, I was there.
Okay. And where were you? And how far away is this from the the
VAB? It's roughly 3 miles to the pad, kind of. So this is obviously a rollout at night, and it must have been good weather because this is when the orbiter is most vulnerable because there is no weather protection.
Oh, okay.
So it's a big deal. Meteorologists, it's a big deal because this takes 8 hours or so to get to the pad. So
crawling at a half a mile an hour, 3.5 mile journey there, stopping once in a while.
Yeah, so they just what I would do is
they set a date like the launch is, let's say, December 10th.
Yeah.
So we're gonna roll out. Marty says what? 4 months ahead of time? 6 months even?
It's about 3-4 months.
About 3 or 4 months. So they're rolling out in August, September, October, November. They're all rolling out in August.
Right.
Hurricane weather.
Yeah.
So I try to pick a date and then work with the meteorologist.
Work with that after, yes, because you don't say you're going to roll at 5 o'clock and there's a thunderstorm. So,
Right.
you know, we got to play it by
Oh, right.
ear.
So night is probably
Yeah.
when the comets. This would make sense. This is summertime.
Right. And where I would have been here is over off to the right.
In the bushes.
In the bushes there.
Travis is hanging out in the bushes.
Past those bushes is where our building was.
And
So
that building was called what?
Oh, God, I don't know.
Oh,
You
well, I think of the LCC. And
know,
the,
this was just the pad,
launch shop. Or,
the pad offices.
okay.
You know, the pad leader and all that were stationed there. So
Now tell us about the commander, Mark Polanski there.
yeah, me and him are good buddies. I like Mark. We got along good. Now what he's doing right there is and this has to be dry count TCD2.
This is in the White Room outside the orbiter door.
Right. He's getting ready to. He's putting that plaque on. My guys in the shop would make these plaques, and the OVCC would present it to the commander, and he would install it. So that made it official from there on out. This is, you know, and I would take those plaques off. Nobody ever told me what to do with them, so I got several.
You got several. I've seen several of those plaques, and
But I would also
finders keepers. But
well,
they
I
came
would
out of
also
your
give
shop?
them to my guys.
Would you glue it on? What did it have?
No, it's got Velcro.
Velcro. Yeah,
Velcro.
Velcro's everywhere. You got a big old.
That
big
was
old,
the
two big
biggest.
old rolls of Velcro.
It was
up
the
there, male
biggest
and
thing.
female.
No, well, yeah, but one guy learned a steep lesson one day when we first started doing it, and he never fit checked the plaque to where the Velcro is on the slide board, and he got up there and he gave it to the commander and it wouldn't fit. So yeah, so I'd have guys after that happened. I wasn't in charge then, but I'd have guys make sure that they measured down to do not hand anything to a commander that does not work.
Now, Travis, tell us that you've done it so many times that it's second nature to you. But the slide board.
Yeah, that slide board there does not fly. That is to crawl in and out. And
how big is the drop down to the mid deck from that the cabin?
Oh, well, they're crawling into the mid deck when you first crawl in. You turn left to go to the mid deck, or you turn right to go to the flight deck, because we're horizontal or vertical.
Right.
So it's all on the same plane. So you just turn left to go to the flight deck, or
Left
right
to the
and
flight
left
deck.
to the mid deck. So he's just crawling. But what also is, we've talked about emergency egress slide board. It fits exactly on there, so that if I have incapacitated crew member, I can drag them out over that. So, and we have that slide board that my father and I built here in the museum.
We'll hold that out and show that one
Yeah.
time there. We'll do some rescue technique shows there. And I pulled a couple of these pictures because here's the astronaut on this mission, Nick Patrick there,
Yeah.
saying, "I'll see you in 2 weeks." Did all the astronauts have a little sign to say there's that was
Perezinski?
Perezinski? Yeah, that's Perezinski there.
Yeah, it is.
Did everybody do this? Maybe the first flight, or just tell us
Oh,
a
I know
little-
it didn't happen on the first one, but it's totally up to the flight crew. They have their own moment, because this is what he's looking at right there is there's a hard fixed mounted camera in the White Room, and there's a lot of pictures of the back of my head or my ear, but
Yeah.
that's what he's looking into, that camera. That is the NASA
live feed
live
that
feed.
we all watched when they
Correct.
went up, and you
So
can see
that's-
them on YouTube.
And it's totally up to them. They can do it or not. I've seen some of them shoot little hand signals, that probably personal to whoever they're sending them to.
Okay.
But signs work.
Sign
But
language,
it wasn't
sign
an
language.
every launch day thing, but it's totally up to the crew.
Mm-hmm. And then if they did a scrub, I wonder if they do it the second time. Or
I've
third
seen
time.
it where they didn't. I've
Okay.
seen that where, no, let's get serious.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Well, here is Joan Higginbotham. Her
Yeah.
only flight was this flight. She probably would have flown one or two more had the program not ended.
Right.
And there she. What are they doing there, Travis?
They're getting her
crew member.
ready. They're in the White Room, and what they're doing,
195 feet in the
yeah.
air at the side of the orbiter.
what he's doing is adjusting her strap for her bottom seat belt.
Okay, orange-looking straps
Right.
there.
Well, yeah, and it's black what he's got in his hand. That is the seat buckle. So what he's doing is he's positioning it so when she gets in, because it's tied up with little bungee kind of little elastic, and he's pulling it out and getting it ready.
Interesting.
Marty wants something.
Yes, sir.
Move the mic a little bit away.
Okay.
He's leaning into it.
There you go. All right. There's Kerbeam.
I'm a rookie.
And getting in a spacesuit there, and then he got in and out of 4 times in an
Wow.
EVA suit, extravehicular activity suit there. Who are those buddies of yours there, by the way? You remember your crewmates, your White Room crewmates there?
I can tell who this one is, Kurt. But I think that's my NASA quality over there, and I can't tell.
Okay. And he's putting in the light sticks there.
Yeah. Which is normally the OVCC, you do that, but there's a lot going on when you got 7 crew members up there.
And only 55 minutes to put
50.
them all. 50? 50,
Yeah.
wow.
That's
So
all
someone's
I did.
holding up a sign to their kids. You're like saying, come on, we got to hurry up.
I'm doing this the
Oh,
whole
are you? You're
time.
looking at your
the
watch
whole
all the
time. It
time.
took me years to get out of the habit of looking at my watch every 2 minutes.
Oh, really?
Because this is my biggest enemy up there. It's time.
Because you got Mike Leinbach, the launch director, saying, Travis, are you done yet?
Yeah, something like
Are
that.
you done yet?
I had a
He's
strict.
not, oh, come on. I know him. He's very polite.
Oh, he is very good. Yeah, and he trusted me, and we had a good working relationship, which is kind of important on launch day. You want the guy in the White Room to be,
And you can go to our video library on Facebook and see interview with Travis on Triple T, on where Mike Leinbach crashed one of our White Room sessions here. But we also did in July.
Yeah,
we did
that was fun.
a Columbia remembrance with Leinbach and Jonathan Ward. They wrote the book together, Bringing Columbia Home. Travis was involved in that whole thing himself, and we've talked about it a little bit, but we're going to sit down and do probably a series of programs in January about that tragedy from this guy's standpoint there. But yeah, we've had Leinbach on here, great guy. He gave us covers of the hatches. The show in there. So, well, we wanted to talk a little bit about something that Travis just didn't put astronauts in their seats. There was a lot. In fact, that was the 55 minutes that was probably the most fun and enduring.
Yeah.
But you had to train these astronauts on everything. And one of the things you trained them on was the Emergency Egress. What's the other acronym? Emergency Egress Training, EET.
It's Emergency Egress Crew Training is what it really is. So EET. And it must have been Emergency Egress Training. Somebody cut it down. But this was...
No, I cut it.
Oh, you did.
I'm asking you the acronyms.
Okay.
Marty's going to correct me here.
Yeah.
Don't listen to Marty and his acronyms, all right?
But
yes, this is a serious business. You're 195 feet up. Something goes wrong. How in the heck are you going to get saved?
Yeah. Well, this is my bread and butter. I was called a SME. I never liked that. But
A SME. Now, what is a SME?
Subject matter expert.
Subject matter expert. I was Smee in Peter Pan.
There
with,
you go.
Hook and his crew on stage several times. Yeah, but subject matter expert. Oh,
yeah, I hated
not
that
a smart A.
It always made me nervous because you're supposed to be an expert, but I don't know. But this was my deal. I loved emergency egress because we had 7 slide bar baskets, 3 people to a basket. So my magic number is 21. Couldn't have more than 21 people up there on launch day.
At 195-foot
this
level.
This is your only way off the pad in an emergency.
Okay. Who counted?
What it is I counted.
Okay.
But what it is
like a referee
well,
on a
there'd
football
be
field.
Well, I know, but it was pre-programmed, everything. 7 closeout crew members, 7 flight crew members, and if things went bad, I could call 7 fire rescue members. So there's my magic number, 21. We had several different modes, and launch day was not my only job. So there's a lot that goes into this. They had emergency egress on the runway. In case they hit hard and they couldn't get the hatch open, the astronauts would come out the overhead with the sky.
Well, we'll do that one day.
Yeah,
too,
so I mean, it's not, but there was 4 modes to the pad emergency egress. Mode 1 was if the astronauts were there by themselves and they had to get out by themselves.
Okay.
So that's a Mode 1.
So they had to be trained without anybody there.
Right.
All right.
So, which we did. So, and all they basically do is they unbuckle themselves, face masks down. They all they open the hatch from the inside, push it open. It swings out of their way, and they all egress directly to the slide bar baskets.
Now, just to clarify, the commander doesn't have a secret key in case someone goes crazy in space and wants to get out of the hatch.
They all know how
That
to
is
open
urban legend
Yeah,
for sure.
they all know how to open it.
Okay.
And it's
that
real.
will emphasize that,
it's
Travis.
real self-
Every astronaut knows
Yeah,
how to open
they do.
the hatch on an orbiter.
Yeah.
All right, good. We love clarifying that because there's too many urban legends about things out there. And
There's not many that know how to close it, but they all know how to open it.
Okay, good.
So this is emergency egress training. What?
And the second was the astronauts are by themselves. The second
Yeah.
is,
Okay. Yeah. Mode 2 is if the flight crew is on station and the closeout crew was on station, because we were also a rescue team.
Okay.
So that if it goes bad while we're in a Mode 2 can digress to a Mode 4, which means I need to call fire rescue. Okay. So a 2 can digress into a 4. A Mode 3 is if the flight crew's on station and the closeout crew has left, the hatch is closed, and then fire rescue is called to the pad. So that's a Mode 3. And a Mode 4 is if a 2 digresses to
All right. Well, very interesting there. Well, here is the they get in the back this gigantic zip line.
Zip line.
And you can see the remote service structure in the back. You're obviously it doesn't look like there's a bird on the pad on this test here. So tell us about what we're looking at here. You say this is probably your people training there.
Yeah, what this tells me is since there's a fire rescue guy in the basket, that this is training for my team and to certify fire rescue also. Because I was a trainer. We had two instructors, other instructors, but I was just the SME. They had to sign off on it. So
the SME.
But I ran it. So yeah. But God, the work involved, guys think I never did anything because I'm always either on the computer or on the phone or something. But I got a schedule. One thing, I have 6 astronauts on my team. You know how hard it is to get 6 astronauts to say, yeah, I can do it on that day?
Probably pretty impossible.
It took me weeks just to go through their schedules. Then once I had their schedule down, I had to schedule the pad and I had to get everything. I mean, this was a big, not like I said, launch day was not my only job, but this right here was my most fun because nobody.
That looks like. Now, how long did it take to go from the White Room, 195 feet up, to where these guys are at? Is that
I think I looked one time. It was like 3 to 4 seconds.
3 to 4 seconds.
It's a pretty quick ride.
1, 2, 3, 4. Wow.
Well, maybe 5 now I think about it, because I did
I'm
count
thinking
one
10,
day.
but
no,
man.
it was quicker. It's a pretty fast ride. I think you're doing 60 or so.
And what we're not going to show you here, well, we'll show you here in a minute. There is this crew 116.
Yeah.
There's
Joan in the middle.
There's Joan and Bill O'Flynn, and that is the Swedish guy, I believe, there.
Yeah.
And
Joan was beautiful.
They gotta get cozy up there, right?
Yeah. Well, you're 3 into a basket, and they're supposed to be looking forward, so away from the pad, and that's so that when you hit the net at the bottom, what's going on, and there's no brakes on this.
Wow.
Now,
Joan's getting out of it there,
out.
jumping out, and then she would be running to a shelter. No,
Yeah.
she'd be running to your
Bunker.
M113.
Actually, you're supposed to get in the bunker first, and then the NTD, NASA test director, would direct you to get to the M113s.
Okay.
So what you're really doing is you're sliding down, you're hauling butt into the bunker, you're establishing communication with the firing room, and they're monitoring the vehicle, so they either tell you stay put or haul butt.
Okay. And Tell us what we're looking at here.
There's the instructor. God,
There's the net
can't
that
remember
they
his-
flow into.
Yeah, so let me tell you about this net.
And there's 7 different lanes, by the way.
7.
Right. They're not piled up on top of each other. There's
No.
7 different
This-
trajectories. That's
This
crazy.
where they're standing is called the deparcation area. So this is where you would depart the slide wire basket and get into the bunker. So it's all beach sand right there. No brakes. So what happens is you're coming down on the slide wire, and there's a net stretched across these 2 poles, and it's got quick release rope on it. You come through in the basket, you hit the net, and you drag the net with you. What is attached to the bottom of the net is 3 different links of chain. There's a saying at the Cape, KISS, keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah.
You don't have to reboot a chain. It's gonna work. So that was the way. So once you hit that net, you drag the chain through the sand, that slows you down. Now, we mentioned Mike Leinbach. What I want to,
Launch director,
Launch
some
director.
25, 30 shuttles.
prior
The end of
to,
the
he was an engineer. I don't remember exactly, mechanical of some kind. But where the slide wire basket originally, when it came down, it would just keep rolling.
Uh-huh.
Because it's on the wire. Those are wheels, you
Yeah.
know, and which is bad because it's hard to jump out of a basket doing this.
Right. You're like on a little swing, actually.
Well, yeah. So Leinbach, Mike, redesigned the roller system, and he
Really?
put an anti-rollback system on it, so that once the chain slows the basket down, the anti-rollback won't let it. So that kept it in place, and that was before he was launch director.
But we'll ask Mike about that one
Yeah,
time.
tell him-
Stay
ask him.
curious there.
Now, one
we-
thing about the net, I had a picture here at the museum. I have it. And about the net, I remember the instructor there telling him, you know, this is how it works, you know, and all this. And then he'd turn and he'd say, well, I guarantee you that if this net doesn't stop you, that one of them big poles will. And you'd see the new astronauts kind of cringe, and the old ones would be giggling. So. But training was a 3-day deal for the astronauts. They would drive the M113. They would do this kind of stuff at a pad walk down where they'd get all safety instructions. I would be up there instructing them in the White Room and the pad. Fire Chief George Hoggart or David Seymour would be up there instructing them on the fire rescue locker that's there on the 195, in case they had to do something on their own. There's fire extinguishers, all
Okay.
kinds of stuff. There's other breathing in case they didn't have a helmet on. They could grab an Elsa in the White Room or at this locker. There's just all kinds of stuff going on. But this was a 3-day deal for training. And then on the last day is dress rehearsal.
Mhm.
TCDT, test readiness countdown demonstration test, something like that.
Countdown.
Okay, countdown,
Test TCD.
CD.
TCDT.
No, CDDT. Countdown demonstration test.
CD. Countdown.
CDT.
Okay.
Okay.
Countdown demonstration test.
I don't remember. It was 20-something years ago.
CTDT.
I was only an expert.
Gotcha.
You're only a SME.
Yeah, I was just
He was only a SME. Well, what in Tales from the White Room with Travis Thompson, the one and only Triple T. Where can you hear stories like this? You can't, except
Yeah.
here on Stay Curious every Friday.
Cool.
As myself, Mark Marquette, and Marty Winkle bring you this program for now since March 2020, a year and
Yeah.
a half, and so grateful to Jessica Galloway and helping us get this looking like a TV show,
Yeah.
as well as our whole staff here who embraces it and always has good suggestions for things to do. Most of the time for me to shut up and let you all talk, but we enjoy everybody enjoying this. Okay. And one final picture that we wanted to show of the egress system here is one I couldn't believe that I just ran across researching
Isn't
the
that cool?
story. Wow, look at there is John Young and Bob Crippen training for Space Transportation System 1.
Yeah.
All right. Marty, flip that around so Triple T can show us. Tell us that you were there.
I was there. I was standing right there when this was going on. I was not even on the closeout crew yet. I was training for it, but
Uh-huh.
I was a forward shop technician. is the forward
Forward
shop.
shop technician. This is the forward part of the shuttle.
Right.
All right.
So-
Is the cabin area.
I remember him crawling in and just I remember the day. It was just cool because
Really?
I don't know why the slide wire basket fascinated me for some reason, but I think it was because I knew that was my safety blanket or
Yeah.
my lifeline. So I paid particular attention because that's, before the shuttle blows, that's your only way off.
Well, look at the expression of John with Crip there, just smiling his brains out. He's a rookie, of course.
He's watching the old guy
This
get
is the old
in.
moonwalker that's been to the moon twice.
Cool.
Okay, he's also chief of the astronaut office.
Yeah, yeah.
And it kind of looks like John's not, kind of like
Not
an
very
old man
spry
in a way
right
there.
there.
But what a photograph!
I'm
I
sure
mean,
what he's doing is being slowed to be careful.
Yeah, yeah. And you're around these guys a lot. And,
Oh, yeah.
and just
I spent a lot of time with Crippen and Young because they were in our OPF orbiter processing facility. Anytime that you do a mod or anything on the ship, an astronaut has to
Modification.
come see it. So they were in the ship a lot. I got a couple stories about that. We'll talk one day.
Well, we'll have more of those stories, all right, from Triple T here on our Stay Curious program, Tales from the White Room. In conclusion, I'd just like to mention that in researching this, SpaceX has the same zipline system out there at Pad 39A.
I worked with the engineer that designed it. He actually built a slide wire in his backyard.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and we checked it all out, and he wanted to, I
Yeah, I'm
told him
sure
what I
this is
thought.
translated into a lot of these zipline technology around the country there.
Right.
So, well, we're glad that you've enjoyed this program. One thing about Triple T here is that that I'm getting to know you.
Yeah.
Is that Triple T is one of these guys that every business has that shows up and is like a troubleshooter. And I know you were a SME, an expert in some things, but boy, this is one of the guys you want to have in your corner because you learning every nut and bolt and wire on this basket probably allowed a lot of other people, including the astronauts, to feel safe.
A little more comfortable, yeah. Because I tell them how to get in it and do it, and I tell them don't think about it, just hold your breath and go.
How many times did you ride down?
Nobody. There's only 3 people have ever ridden it.
Oh, really?
Charlie Bolden, who was
Outside of the astronauts.
only 3 people have ever ridden it.
Okay.
It was not man-rated. The
What's
engineer,
the training they do? What we saw at the bottom there?
it's chained up at the top. Everybody gets in. Okay, this is how you do it. All right, take a break. Everybody goes downstairs. They release the baskets. Then you go downstairs.
So
and
they
fly.
never flew the baskets down. That's a big revelation.
They put
there.
about 800 pounds in
So-
it to figure 3 people.
Right.
And they did it a little more. So they go for 800. But the engineer that would always sign it off on launches retired. And the new engineer, when they put it in front of him, he said, I'm not signing this. Nobody's ever ridden it. Why are we telling everybody to ride it? And we don't even know if it's safe. So they ended up, got 3 people to ride it. Charlie Bolden, who
The
was
NASA administrator, 2-time commander.
but he was
pilot?
he was young astronaut. Me and Charlie grew up together in the space program. Only he went on to be the boss.
Yeah, okay.
But we started together. He was one of my first asks. Me and Charlie, there's
Astronaut that was the number 2.
so he was the asp.
Uh-huh.
So he wrote it. The fire chief, George Hoggard, my dear friend who's passed away, and Junior Bumgardner, who was my boss at the time.
Really?
And the 3 of them wrote it.
Were you there to watch it?
I was there to watch it. And I wanted to be at the bottom. So I already knew what it looked like getting in and all that. So I went down to the bottom to also help them in case.
Mm-hmm.
So I got down there, and they were all talking, happy. Yeah, that was fun. Charlie went and wrote it again and by himself. They wanted to man-rate it to see if one person could do it. Because the only thing here is
Was he in a pumpkin suit?
yeah. But it's a zip line, okay? Now, if you got 3 people in it, the line's going to be this high off the ground.
Yeah.
If you got 1 person in it,
Oh, right.
you're
Yeah,
going to
yeah,
be way
right,
off the
okay.
ground. So he had to figure out how to get out of it and not fall and hurt himself.
Because he was way high up.
Higher
Oh,
up than
wow.
normal. But the system is really cool. I'd love to go over it in detail someday. It was just,
But we did pretty good job
I think
today.
so.
Marty's got a comment for somebody.
Yeah, Tom Usiak corrected me. Okay, for Apollo, it was CDDT, but for Space Shuttle, it was TC.
I thought so.
You're right. You
Tom
were right.
Usiak correcting Marty Winkle.
Thank you, Tom.
The world is coming to an end. Tom Usiak.
So I'm
you
back
know.
to being a SME.
That's right. You're back, and that was the correction was that their terminology is
For Apollo was countdown
Countdown
demonstration. test.
countdown demonstration test.
So I think terminal
CDTT, and in the shuttle CDTT, and in the shuttle it was
terminal countdown demonstration.
TD.
No, now I got.
And I was getting confused because it's also a TCID,
Yeah,
which is a test configuration identifier.
right.
All right.
Yeah,
Great
we
acronyms.
we got acronyms for everything.
Thank you, Tom Usiak, for
Yeah,
joining
thank you,
us
Tom.
today, and we've shared a lot of his photographs with his team that came down there, and we enjoy their relationship with our museum. I've got
sure
my
we'll see
shuttle
him
scroll
again.
here. I looked a couple times on the every mission and the orbiters. Here, a cute little thing I found.
Yeah,
Of things that we're so blessed that we pick up stuff that you never seen before. This is a shuttle launches thing that NASA put out, and I've only seen 2 or 3 of them. And I thought
Pretty
this
handy.
is a handy thing right
It
in our
is.
hand. We call it our shuttle scroll.
yeah.
Hope we can be referring to it more and more as we bring you programs like this. So, well, thank you very much, Marty, for doing a great show today. We are rolling into Christmas holiday week
Yeah.
next week, and we'll have some special interviews for you then, and come
Cool.
back next Friday with Triple T again. Marty?
Yeah, I think we have a new person following, Scott Pook, Pooke, from Hobart, Australia.
Scott Pook, yeah,
Wow.
Pook, yes, and he has been on before. Scott has, but thank you, Marty. He's in Hobart, Australia. What do you think of New Zealand here, Scott? This is the north and southern islands, I guess, of New Zealand there.
Send me a ticket. I'll come visit.
Yeah, we would love to come and do a remote with you
Yeah,
someday
wouldn't that be
if
cool?
you arrange a somehow for it to be paid for by some nonprofit over there. But
Come on, mate.
Hey, come on, mate. That's right. Well, we enjoy everybody joining us today on our Stay Curious programs with Triple T. They're
Yep.
always a little long because they're more of a conversation about oral history.
Yeah, I babbled a little bit.
And, well, the only place you're going to hear this kind of babble is here at the American Space Museum and our Stay Curious program that we're so glad you enjoy on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
Yep.
So please tell everybody to like, share, follow, and subscribe to our programming here because we truly think it's something unique for you space lovers out there. And
I can't make
anything
it up.
else you wanted to share with us today?
No, just I'm glad everybody's interested, and the future's. All we've done is made 4 or 5 payments on our space exploration program. We need to keep going, carry it on, keep going. I'm excited about the future. So
The future is bright. We're even going to launch 6 suborbital astronauts Saturday, including
Yeah.
Hall of Fame football player Michael Strahan and the daughter of Alan Shepard.
yeah,
So you'll want to get up early Saturday and catch that to stay curious.
Cool.
And in the meantime, again, thank you everybody for your support and help in doing this. And we want you to come to our museum and do what?
bridge
Bridge the
space
space between us.
Come see me.